Hi, I'm Blisy.
Hey, if you enjoy the video, consider clicking like, subscribe, bell notification, and the join button. Becoming a channel member is only $4.99 a month. It really helps me out, and you get a bunch of perks like these badges for how long you've been a member for. You get these emojis for my live stream chats, and you get access to my videos when I upload them instead of when I release them. So thanks so much, and enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, this is going to be a guide for how to understand the basics of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness RNG abuse. So I'm just going to go over a couple of the basic tenets of how these RNG works for retail and a couple of the things you're going to need. So first off, the programs you'll need, you'll need Pokefinder, and you're going to need to use the GameCube Seed Finder portion of Pokefinder. This just lets you find the initial seed very easily in Pokemon XD, and the way that works is once your game is booted up, you click Versus Mode. This works on Wii or GameCube, of course. Click Quick Battle, Battle vs CPU, and Ultimate. And for the first result, you're just going to click the two lead Pokemon. So in my case, I'm going to click Mew and Zapdos, and I'll hit Search. Then you're going to go back, click it again. Then you're going to click the two lead Pokemon again, so Deoxys, Zapdos. But this time, you type in all of the HP stats that are there. So a really easy way to find your initial seed, and you click it again. It'll do a little search, and you'll probably have to do it a few more times. All right. Jirachi Advancer. 353. Much easier and faster than in Coliseum. All right, and then it'll pop your seed up here, and you can just hit yes to copy that immediately to your clipboard, which is super helpful. Now, for the other things you're going to need XDCeed. This will help you manage and track your current seed. This will also help you track potential like frame advancements and stuff like that. So we're going to get back out of here. So the few other things in terms of frame advancements that you're going to need to understand is, we're going to hit continue here really quick. Oh, this is the wrong save file, but whatever. All right, so there are a few things to note. One, the way you do frame advancements in this game is much different than in some other Pokemon games. So different things do different amounts of advancements, right? So, for example, saving the game, this advances the RNG by 63 frames once you hit yes here. It's a very specific amount. I don't really know why it works like that, but that's what it does. The other thing is going into the items menu and going out of the items menu advances it. However, this changes in every area, so you're going to have to test in each specific area where the RNG advances. So, for example, in front of the Shadow Lab in like the Cypher Lab, I'll pick the spot for it. This place right here, it advances 13 every time. But I think in City Dark Isle, it advances 12 every time. And the way you have to figure that out is simply by going to the area, like from a fresh save, clicking the items menu, going out, and then waiting to see how many advancements are done. Also, your character can do little wiggles here. And this is kind of the crux of how you do small amounts of frame advancements. So you see he just wiggled back and forth. That advances by 2 frames. And he has 3 different animations for that. And he'll never do the same one 2 times in a row. So he wiggled back and forth, or front to back, however you want to call it. He just did up and down. And he has a left and right one. Let's hope he just kind of pops that one out. There it is, left and right, boom. 1, 2, 3, easy. Now, there are also other different ways to do, much faster ways to do frame advancements as well. And this is cool because it lets you get kind of in like to the high, like millions of frames. Okay, so the way to explain this is that there are 3 different variations of frame advancements per each specific type of thing. So, viewing a Pokemon in the party slot, that isn't Shadow advances about 48.5 frames per second. Viewing a Pokemon summary that is a Shadow Pokemon advances 2,759.5 per second. And then advancing a Pokemon watching a Pokemon in reverse mode advances 3,713 frames per second. Okay. However, the much better way to do this, typically, sometimes I use the summary for a Pokemon who isn't a Shadow Pokemon, 48.5. That's slow enough to be pretty useful. The other two are pretty fast, but they're both slower than the other faster methods. So, going into the PDA, clicking Shadow Monitor, and viewing a non-purified Pokemon. So, all my Pokemon are purified on this file, but so viewing a purified Pokemon here, this goes 468.1 per second. Viewing a Shadow Pokemon here advances 3,179.1 per second. This is the one I use the most, but that's because getting a Pokemon into reverse mode wasn't reliable for me. But viewing a Pokemon in reverse mode advances 4,133.2 frames per second. So these are the best ways to do large amounts of advancements. You just have to do some math to figure it out, but it's really easy. Let's do a quick example here. So we'll get a calculator open, right? So let's say you have to advance by 5 million frames, right? The way you would do it is you divide by the number of frames per second that are being consumed. So it's going to be 4,133 frames per second. And this gives you how many seconds you have to wait. You can divide that again by 60 to get how many minutes you have to wait, or you can divide it again by how many hours you would have to wait. So it's 0.3 hours, or, times it again to get back up, right? Times it by 60. It's 20.1 minutes or whatever, right? Now, I typically leave it in seconds, and the favorite timer I use is Flowtimer, and you can just convert this to milliseconds pretty easily by going into the third digit over, right? So if I wanted this one to be in my timer, it would just be 1209, and then I wouldn't add the decimal point, and I would do 716, and that's just 1209 716 is in milliseconds instead of seconds. So that's the best way I find, because this is my favorite timer to use. It's the most accurate, I think, anyway. Now, after you've done these advancements, you have to kind of figure out what your current seed is again. And now this only works in specific areas. So certain areas, like this area that I'm standing in, and several others, like a lot of parts of City Dark Isle, like the end and stuff, aren't noisy. So this area, for example, has no noise in it at all. No NPC background or anything like that will be affected by you. A lot of the same areas from Coliseum are noisy versus not noisy again. You just kind of have to test that out. The best way to do that would just be to go to catch the Pokemon and see if there was any advancement between when you caught it and when you didn't. Like when you started the game and when you caught it. So now, the best way to find your current seed or current frame or whatever is pretty simple. So I've done a number of different advances here. And so the way you do it is in XDSeed, right? You can paste your initial seed here, or whatever your most recent seed was, and do like a number of, I doubt it was more than 10,000. Type two numbers here, right? So this is the range of frame advancements I'm thinking. So frame 0 to frame 10,000, and I want to see what frame I'm currently on right now. It could actually be higher than that because I was in that town, right? I might not find it here, but it doesn't matter. And you'll see me do this in different videos on how to RNG Shadow Pokemon, so I'll show you that. So the way you're going to do it is you're going to watch this little dude wiggle. So that was left and right. The way it goes is left and right is the middle one, up and down is the right one, and front and back is the left one here. So we'll watch him again. He takes like 20 seconds in between each wiggle. So that was up and down. It's very interesting, mind you. So that one's front and back, and you can hit search eventually, and after a while, and you can search constantly. And the nice part is you can pause and take breaks. So you can pause your menu here and wait. No frame advancements will happen while this menu is open. It's pretty handy in my opinion. It'll slowly narrow down exactly how many, like exactly what frame you're on. Like if we go again, you can see the advancements is 7,542 potential results, right? We can go again, and it'll cut those results probably close to in half. Usually it does, right? Left and right. Yeah, exactly. See? So you just keep doing this until you find your current position, and then you figure out exactly how many more frames you have to advance, right? So that's what this tab is for. This tab is for finding from your current seed if there are any seeds you want to hit. And so that's what you use XDCheck for. So if we open up XDCheck really quick, this is a program you should be familiar with if you've done any Pokemon Coliseum RNG. So in XDCheck, for example, if you were looking for a specific spread, right? Ooh, these would all be the spreads you're looking for. You could paste all the spreads you want in here and hit search. Oh, and see how many frames away your current seed or your initial seed or what have you would be away from your potential target seed. So that's pretty nice. So you can see exactly if it's willing to reset. And if you have one, like this is a really low amount, right? 29,000. But if you were at, you know, one of these where it's in the hundreds of millions or whatever, you could just soft reset the game and hope to get a better seed because the seed is randomly generated every time you reboot the game. And that's what that one's for. And then the only other important tab is this one is the Pokespot tab, but I'll go over this one more in depth when I do my Pokespot video, so I wouldn't worry about that. And that's pretty much the important tabs in XDSeed. XDCheck is pretty simple, and you can kind of use Pokefinder in place of this. In fact, Pokefinder is more accurate in certain places. However, these programs are kind of meant to be used with each other, so I prefer to use XDCheck, XDPokemon, and XDSeed all together. It's pretty simple here. This one is just search. This little button means search by IVs, and so you can type the IVs in here. This is for the natures. You're going to have to look what they are up in Japanese. This box lets you pick multiple different natures if you're willing to have more than one different nature. This box is if you have ability 1 or 2. This is for XD ability, so actually ignore this one. This is the ability box you're interested in. This one is the gender ratio. This one is for the hidden power you want and for the power of the hidden power. This is for trainer ID and secret ID, but you're not usually going to be able to have a shiny. This button is for the shadow Pokemon in XD. This is for Coliseum, so don't click this button. This is for Pokespot, and this is for... I actually don't know what this one's for. I don't use it, though. I think you could probably use this one for... this might be for the trades, but anyway. So this is Pokespot. This is XDPokemon. It's very similar to XDSeed. The difference is when you paste... when you paste seeds in here, it'll tell you where spreads are relative to this seed, right? So if I don't type in any information, it'll show me from here to here, it'll show me the first 10,000 frames in XD Pokemon. So that's pretty good. Everything else is kind of the same. This whole section from here to here is the same. Pokespot's got a little more information. It lets you pick which specific Pokemon that you're aiming for. That's nice. Again, you're going to have to look up these names in Japanese. That's not nice. This part over here is for shadow-locked Pokemon. So there's specific Pokemon that work kind of differently. So if you're aiming for one of those Pokemon, you kind of just have to click which one you're aiming for. And some settings will drop in here. It's not too big of a deal. I wouldn't worry about it unless you're actually aiming for a shadow-locked Pokemon. And I'll cover that in a shadow-locked video. So, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't worry about that one. Okay. This one, this part doesn't really matter very much which one is doing the advances. I tend to leave it on the first tab, and I'll go into more in depth about what this is. Okay. In a separate video. This drop-down box here, This is for potentially different amounts of frame advancements. So I don't know if any of these trainers are none of these trainers are unbattled, I think. Okay, so good. So you see that animation that I just played? That just played when you battled this guy, right? That animation can vary wildly, right? The amount of frames that can happen when you talk to that guy, the amount of frames that will be advanced, changes completely dramatically, to the point where it is almost not manipulatable. It advances anywhere from 300,000 to like 5 million frames, I believe. And there is a formula to figure it out, and each and it's that specific effect. It's like a blur while the screen spins around. Each one of those has about 3 to 5 different patterns for that, and you can't control which one you get. I would consider it almost like the timer 0 in black and white or something like that, or black and white 2, where it can just kind of shift randomly. So you can't really control much about it. However, the way you can deal with this is there's a special formula for it, and I'm going to go over a whole video just on what it is, but the effect is called end count. Now, there are ways to deal with it that aren't just hoping you hit the right pattern, and so I'm gonna cover that as well. There's a situation called end count, which is where you can lessen, like you can make it stable by doing a battle in the area beforehand, right? So I battle this guy. Do I have Earthquake? I don't. It's not gonna help. But like if I were to do this, I could battle someone, and then the next battle after this in this area would then have always the same exact amount of frames advance afterwards. But like I said, I'm going to make a completely separate video on end count on its own. The only other types of frame advancements are when you do a boss battle, there's 2 Pokeballs that spin around. That's very consistent. And then there's also sometimes the screen blurs without moving, and there's never any frame amounts, any frame advancements happen from that one. So yeah, this is just a basic overview of different mechanics in XD RNG, and it's sort of meant as supplemental to the actual RNG videos themselves to explain sort of the concepts that I go over in them. So I hope this video was helpful. I think I've covered everything here. I don't think there's anything else for me to go to. The only thing I could think of is just be wary of which areas you're in, because some areas do have lots of frame advancements while you're in them. So just be wary of those. Those areas are not really going to be RNGable on the retail, on retail anyway. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
I just want to thank my channel members so much. You guys are amazing. Without this kind of support, I wouldn't be able to put out the videos I do, and I wouldn't be able to stream as frequently. Thanks so much. If you want to consider becoming a member, just click the join button underneath this video or at my channel page. It's only $4.99 a month. It really helps me out. I'm extremely uncomfortable doing these kinds of plugs, but I'm doing it anyway because the money helps. And if you can't or don't want to, don't feel bad. I'm just asking because, yeah. Thanks so much, guys. You're all amazing. See you next video.